Hi there, welcome to the Halftime Huddle. This is the opportunity on Wednesday lunchtime to spend a bit of time halfway through the week. Hump Day, Wednesday is the day officially when we're about halfway between the beginning of the week or the week last weekend and this weekend, next weekend. And it's a time to sort of reassess, give yourself a little bit of a bump so you can get over the hump and into the best half, the second half, because it's downhill. It's all downhill, and this is where you can make it your best half because we're all energetic to start our businesses on Monday morning. Come to Wednesday, all kinds of things have happened. You'd be surprised. All kinds of things have happened to the last 2 weeks, last 2 days, and boom, you're in the middle of the week and ready to go. So this is an opportunity to take a deep breath, listen to some of the tips we might come, the conversations we might have, and just take some time to get yourself ready for the next half of the week. If you don't know me, I'm Mark Webb. I excuse me, cough cough cough. I'm a business coach who gives the opportunity through I think you can see it here through AGame masterminds for business owners to spend some quality time with their peers. If you want to learn more about that, then do follow. But this is not what that's about. This is about just a little bit of stuff about what we can do. So, if you watch the preamble, we're going to talk about looking looking into the past and learning from the past. And basically, today, just what I wanted to welcome, look into summer. This is the day after the solstice. Yesterday was the official first day of summer, so we're now officially well into summer. We're into summer. We've got both feet in summer, and it's also halfway through the week, halfway through the year. So it's not only hump day, it's hump week or hump, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the season, hump month maybe. It's the time when the sun's shining. You may be not thinking that you really want to get on with it, but it's the second half of the year. So what we're going to talk about, sorry about this cough, a little bit of hay fever. What we're going to talk about today is what you can do to learn from the first half, to learn from the past, look back a little bit and do what we would call a retrospective, and take some of the lessons you learned from the first half of the year or the first period you had beforehand, because you don't have to necessarily do it just at milestones. Is to look at what you've done, what you've achieved, and move on towards the next part. I'd be interested to know how many of you are listening to this on the replay, maybe, or on the live, who do this regularly. Sort of look back on how their week went, how their month went, how their quarter went, how their year went, and use the knowledge of that to help and reassess and adapt for the next period, the next week, the next month, next quarter, the next year, etc. So I'm going to give you a little bit of structure so you can do it. If you do it a little bit of ad hoc, this is a bit of a structure I used to use when I was working with teams in IT teams. It's a standard format, so some of you may even know and have been in a team and have done this before, but it's useful to do it on your own as well. So we're going to use a process called the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for those of you who are about my age or maybe even older, you may remember the film, the Sergio Leone film, a spaghetti western type film with Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach, who were all gunslingers, and the film was about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's a nice sort of framework for getting an understanding of what we're going. So using that framework, we'll start with the good. So it's Clint Eastwood in this film. He's the person who is actually sort of helping people and supporting people and against the bad and the ugly. So basically, you use this process to go back and look at the last period or last half of the year. List all the things that went well. List all the things that you achieved. List all the things that seemed to work very well. If you were doing things that seemed to give you the right sort of output, the right outcomes, then list them down. the aim of this is to be as inclusive as you can, get as many items as you can, so that sort of you can sort of build on these later on. So just list all the good things that happen. Um, this is also a quite cathartic, because sometimes we go through a time, and you will see that when you see the maybe the list, you will see the imbalance sometimes between the bad and the ugly, and the good. That we often don't spend enough time remembering what we did and what we achieved. So this is a good activity to do, and you can start off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So start off with the good. What went well? All of the things that worked. Have a long list of all of the things that worked. Once you think you've exhausted that, or you can't think of any more, always ask yourself, and what else? And what else did I do? And what else? Until you've exhausted all of that, and move on to the next thing, which is the bad. This is the things that didn't work out. This is the things that didn't give you the output and the outcome that you wanted. These are the things that you had all sort of high hopes for, but just didn't work out. Um, just so again, same sort of thing. You just write a long list of all the things that went poorly over the last period you're looking at. So in this instance, if we're doing it halfway through the year, what didn't go so well in the first seasons of the month. So have a look at what didn't work. What are the things that you tried that didn't work out, etc. Um, yeah, no, yeah. As Oline says in the comments, it's always good to have a look back, but often you don't do it in a structure. This adds a little bit of a structure to help with refining and defining what you might want to do. And this is the final bit. This is often the bit that people used to find difficult to do. And this is because essentially it's the stuff that you're embarrassed to talk about. This is the stuff that went embarrassingly wrong, really messy stuff that you tried to do that just really, really didn't work out. This is that ugly stuff. So you have to sort of dig deep to do this. I don't want you to share any of your ugly stuff, because this isn't stuff that you necessarily need to share with other people. The good and the bad, maybe, because essentially sometimes things just don't work out, but ugly is just downright sort of nasty. It's a subtle difference between the bad and the ugly, but it's worthwhile to make that distinction. So again, fill your boots, go out there, ask as many, think about as many instances where you cringe at looking back at what you did and what didn't work out, and make a list of those cringeworthy types of items. So in the end of this, you will have a list of good, bad, and ugly. So you'll have a list of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then once you've got that list, the next thing to do is just to see whether there are any common things. Are there things that have some kind of commonality? Are there things that actually went well one time but didn't go quite so well the other time? Actually, are those some things that are around about the same sort of activity you wanted to do that didn't quite work? It was a bit of a mix. Or maybe a list of the good things. There was a lot of commonalities in the good things, a lot of commonalities in the bad things. So group them up, and then sort of put a star and prioritize them. So once you've got that list of things that went well, things that didn't go so well, and things were just downright you really don't want to, you try not to remember them, but you need to remember them. Then the next step is to, what are you going to do about it? So you've got your groups, you've got your lists, you've got your priorities. Work your way through the top 3 to 5 of that list, the top really important things that you need to do. And then you start to look at the next stage, which is to think about what you're going to do about it. So if you had a whole bunch of things that are that didn't quite work out, what changes can you make? Here we go. And this is where we make a distinction between the sort of type of things you come out at. What experiments can you do over the next period to try and change either the way you did things, the inputs you had, the various different interactions you had, so to just get little tweaks to see whether that would make a difference or not. Don't make too many experiments, don't make too many tweaks, because often if you try and change everything, then you never know which one worked and which one didn't work. So do a couple of little changes to the way you did things that you think might actually influence things for the better, just to experiment. Would they work or would they not? Often in sort of the IT world, they talk about A/B testing. You might want to have two two little experiments going on, doing it one way, doing it another way, and see which way worked better. And this is where, essentially you have your list of all the things that worked, all the things that didn't work, all the things that were downright ugly. What is an experiment you can do? What is a couple of things you can do and change that might have influence you to get more positive outputs? That you think, if you've got a hypothesis, if you think that if you'd have done more of X, for instance, if you think you'd have done more of in business, if you'd done more of one-to-one interactions, that would have made more business for you. Experiment by increasing the number of one-to-ones that you might do. Experiment in doing different one-to-ones with different types of people. Experiment with having a standard day of the week to do one-to-ones. All kinds of things you can do to change the way you do that to improve, maybe, or try and improve maybe what you want to do. The next type of step you might want to take is what's called just an action. Basically, so something fixed. If something's broken, if you had a process that just didn't work, some of the steps didn't work, then maybe you could try and just spend some time just putting a fix in. This is a one-off thing. You go in there, do the action, fixes the thing, changes the thing. For instance, if your website needs some changes because some of the stuff is no longer relevant, you might want to go in there and just fix it. So, and if it was something that caused you to have some problems, then you might want to fix that kind of thing. If there's some activities that you needed to do to make your good things even better, then again, take an action and go and do those things. So this is me, just a little bit of an introduction to a little process, a simple little structure around the process where you can regularly take a little bit of time looking over the past, the period that you've gone through, and to take some lessons from that by looking at, like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There we go. The good, the bad, and the ugly remind you of that. If you haven't seen the film, go and watch it. It's just a classic film from the past. So if you can hunt it down, have a little watch it. But in the meantime, all you need to know, and I move so that you can see me, all you need to know is it's a nice structure to put some framework on looking at the events of the past, so that you can actually put them in some kind of order. So try that off, try that, and then see what experiments you can take. See what little subtle changes in your behavior, subtle changes in the processes you have in your business, subtle changes in the way you interact with people, etc., that you might see. You want to see whether it makes a difference, whether it makes a positive difference or not. The thing about an experiment is obviously you have an idea of what you think it might do, what the output might be, and you then have to measure whether that happens. So if you make an experiment to do, say, more one-to-ones, then you want to, and you think that doing more one-to-ones will give you more business, then record the number of one-to-ones you do and see whether increasing them does make more business. And if you have something to fix, you might want to go away and fix something. So basically, that's like a little structure. Hopefully, it'll give you something to do. And you don't have to. One of the things about doing this kind of retrospective is you don't have to wait for a milestone. You don't have to wait till halfway through the year to decide that it's time to do a little bit of an inspect and adapt. Inspect and see what you did and adapt your behavior based on what's happened. You can do this on an ad hoc type of process. You can set sort of regularly small little items to do at the end of some people like to do an end of the week of a list of how the week went. That's an ideal time to spend 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, just looking at how the week went. Are there any changes you might want to do for the next week? Don't have to be very, very long. Doesn't have to be very comprehensive. Just what am I going to do next week to change the way I do things, so that we can see and make them change to go better. Oh, excuse me. I should have put my phone on do not disturb. So excuse me for that. Rookie error. So hopefully that's helped. Hopefully that's given you something to think about. Hopefully it's given you an opportunity to spend a bit of time just reflecting on the past and thinking about how you can improve and grow. So luckily, hopefully, that'll help you. If you have any comments about what you know, do you do this? I've noticed that Milesh has just commented and said that he introduces successes back into our weekly diary to review this, which is positive as well. So I mean, you don't have to necessarily go back to the bad and the ugly. Just by listing the things that went well and what was the likely causes of that is a great way of doing things. Um, Likely one of the things you might want to look into. So you know, just listing the things you did well, which is another one of the things I talked about when we were talking earlier about the fact that we often focus on the things that went wrong. Sometimes we don't remember the things that went right, and sometimes it's easier to improve on the things that are going well and working than it is to fix things that are broken. So oftentimes, if you've got a process or an activity or things you're doing, and it seems to be working, just little tweaks might make it better. Whereas if you've got something that's dreadfully wrong, it might take a long time to fix it. So sometimes, you know, it's useful to understand on what went well, and also to reinforce that you carry on doing that thing that went well. So thanks for that, Milesh. It's a great way of recording that, you know, regularly, once a week, once a fortnight, whatever your cycle is. So hopefully that'll give you some food for thought, and hopefully you know, maybe it's a time now in the middle of the week to do a little bit of retro of the first couple of days of the week, so we can look at some of the things that have happened in the week. Maybe you can do a quick reassess, insert and adapt to make the second half your best half. So I hope you have a great half. I hope you're using the opportunity to take some time to go out in the fresh air, because where we are at the moment, like I said, summer's here. It's a different time of year, different focus in your business, and enjoy the summer. Enjoy the opportunity to get out and meet people. Enjoy the opportunity to get some fresh air and out into the live the environment. And just have a great week. So I will speak to you next Wednesday, next halftime huddle. So in the meantime, have a great second half, and I hope the second half is your best Hi there. Again, this is the end of the credits things. It's for those people watching. Wednesday is the day when Disney introduced some of their new things. So it reminds me of the end of credit pieces. So this is me in my homage to that, and a lot of other people do it now. But essentially, it's me coming to say, I hope you enjoyed today. If you want more of the same or you want less of the same, please let me know. If you also, I'd love to get some people to talk to. If you would love to come on and chat, then please, again, pop in and say hi. So we can arrange that. If there anybody you think you'd love for me to bring on and chat and talk about certain things, then please let me know. We want to make these halftime huddles the best opportunity for you halfway through the week to give you a little bit of spur. So obviously, you know, the aim of this is to get you over hump day, get you through the second half. So hopefully you can give me some suggestions about how we can do that. So I'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, have a great second half.